Welcome back to Musical Connections here from the 2025 East Coast Music Awards here in St. John's. We're here at the Delta Hotel, and joining me right now, we had her back on in the summer of 2023. She released 2 EPs, Song Seeds and Bring the Fire. And from Brook, Indigenous singer-songwriter Lorna Lovell. How you doing, Lorna?
I'm good, Zach. How are you?
Good. Great to have you here in St. John's. It's great to meet you in person for the first time.
Thanks. You too.
And the last time we did this, though, was over the phone, and we talked about those 2 records you put out back in 23. But it's great to meet you in person finally, so I'm happy to have you here.
Thanks for having me, Zach. I appreciate it. I've met a few people that I worked with quite a bit over the last few years since I started in the songwriting racket. And, met for the first time because I released that first album in 2020 right before everything got shut down. So there was, there's been all kinds of Zoom stuff and stuff over the phone, and just me being on the West Coast too is, a bit of a challenge. Yeah.
Well, the West Coast nowadays starting to develop a pretty good scene over there with names like Louis McDonald really helping out, Nigel Jenkins and Jeff Shepard and Debbie Brown with Laughing Heart Music and Middletown Records, really making some noise over there. And 62 Broadway, that's becoming a great hub in Brook region. And I was there in Brook in 2022 when the Music and L Awards were there, and it's absolutely stunning in the fall.
Yeah, it's beautiful. I go to 62 Broadway quite a bit when they have events. That's actually where I met Jing. She was given a workshop there on her guzheng, and I asked her about doing, playing on Drag and Bring the Fire from the Bring the Fire album, and that's how that came to be. So
wonderful. Now, that's from the Bring the Fire record, and that is the title track of the record. And I heard that song, beautiful tune. We're going to play one of those after this conversation here on the podcast. But how are things for you right now? Because it has been a while since we last spoke.
So I have been doing a lot of writing, and I'm working on a new single right now. It's almost ready, like the music part of it. I just got the version back with the vocals and a fiddle on it. It's a country song, very country. It's about having a country themed wedding. It's upbeat and fun, called Boots First. So I'm excited about that. I think I'm going to play it today. Later, I've got a little showcase here at the Delta, so I think I'm going to play that just to introduce it to the world.
So you playing on the Songs and Stories stage by chance, or is it somewhere
1:30?
Nice.
Yeah.
And is this your first ECMA?
This is my first time going to the ECMAs.
Oh, entirely?
Yeah, and honestly, I was really, really glad to have an offer to come and play on the stage, It's an amazing opportunity, so I signed up for some one-on-one industry sessions, too, so I just finished those. Had some great conversations. It's nice to get feedback because, these guys are been in this a long time, people I met with, and I tried to be deliberate about who I met, kind of thing, and exactly what I'm looking to get out of it, and I think they went really well.
Well, what are you looking to get from this week? Are you looking to get more gigs in province, outside the province? Or are you looking to get some placements in shows? What are you looking for from this week?
I met with Songwriters Association of Canada. I met with Sound of Pop, and I met with Vince from Cinema Music Publishing, who already represents me for a song I co-wrote with Rachel Cousins and Virginia Fudge. And just to have a chat about, other music and kind of how to get my current music out and maybe to collaborate with other songwriters. I've also been working on some demos with Louis McDonald out of 62 Broadway there, so I got a couple of pop demos. Started with him, and I got a ton of stuff written. I got enough for another album. But I want to make sure that I'm doing it properly. I want to make sure I've got the right promo behind it before I put anything out. You know what I mean? So I'm kind of taking my time on this. I'm kind of taking my time on these projects.
For sure.
Yeah.
Now, how did this all start for you? Because you're from Brook, but you grew up in a little small fishing community, as it says in your bio when I was doing research for this conversation here. Where did you grow up to, and what was life like growing up on the West Coast?
I grew up in MacIver's. Maybe the population was 500. I don't know. Ish.
Wow.
Pretty tiny. It was beautiful. I mean, I grew up in the woods and on the beach. I was Dad's little boy that he never had. Spent a lot of time helping him get wood, riding my bike, roller skates up and down the hills in MacIver's, just on the beach, exploring, and listening to music. We were a very musical family. My dad was a songwriter too, although I didn't realize that until I was probably in my late teens, I guess, before I realized.
Oh, wow.
A lot of the stuff he was playing around the house was stuff that he wrote. And so that kind of gave me a little nudge to be like, maybe I could do this, you know? It still took me quite a long time to try, but, you know, that's kind of where it came from.
No, for sure. Gordon Lovell is his name, and
Yes.
He was a singer-songwriter for many, many years. Did he play in any bands that I would have known of, or was it just like a solo artist?
No, he just, and honestly, his friend, he called him, I guess, a brother from another mother, recorded some of his music years ago. I made like a little pilgrimage a couple of years ago. I went down the coast because before he was married, like before my sister and I were born, he worked as a missionary down in River of Ponds. And so he lived there for like 13 years with another family. They kind of took him in, Cynics. And one of them, like I said, recorded some of Dad's music for him. But I went down to kind of get to know that family a bit better on my own. You know what I mean? Because I didn't remember them since I was like little. Do you know what I mean? And it was amazing. So many people. I felt like he was a star down there or something. Not a star. I don't know how to, like a, and legend seems a bit deep. I don't know. But like everybody knew who we were talking about. Oh, that's Gordy Lovell's daughter. They knew right away, you know. And I heard so many cool stories about him from back, you know, when he was younger and living down there. And they loved his music. And I played at the Rufus Ginchard Festival there. And like down the coast, and they loved the song. Now, I released it as Fisherman's Widow on the Song Seeds album. That's the only one I've released that I didn't write. My dad wrote that.
Oh,
but they know it down there as The Long Wait. Sometimes he would call it The Long Wait. I thought sometimes they called it Fisherman's Widow, and I just thought, for the purposes of marketing, people would know more what it's about, kind of thing.
Yeah.
If I title it Fisherman's Widow, right? But I didn't realize like how drawn to that song they were down there, you know.
That's crazy. I'm
really
sure
cool.
Gordon would have been very, very proud to hear his song being sung by so many people and like known right away from, you know, the connection that he made on the West Coast.
Yep.
Is he still with us, or is he?
No,
since
Dad passed in 2018.
Oh, I'm so sorry to hear that.
Yeah, thank you. Yeah.
But he would definitely be very proud of how far that song has gone since he wrote it like all those years ago.
For sure. Yeah.
Now, some of your influences you've mentioned in your bio. You've mentioned names like Shania Twain and Sarah McLachlan and Alanis Morissette. One of the interesting ones here is Corey Hart. Where does Corey Hart fall into these influences, like, you know, all these powerful female vocalists?
Yeah, his poetry. At heart, I'm a writer. You know, I mean, all going up through school, I loved writing, creative writing. I didn't know how to start in songwriter. I didn't know how to start a song. I didn't, you know what I mean? Nobody teaches you how to write music, how to write songs coming up through school. And I didn't have, you know, in that little tiny community, I didn't have a lot of resources. I didn't know any other artists. I know tons now. Since I started writing, I know tons of people and just keep putting myself out there in different situations. You know, I've been able to collaborate and just meet with a lot of different people. So I can see as a young person, like, you know, not really knowing how to get started. But once I did, there's been no stopping it. I can't imagine my life not writing music.
So you are a songwriter at heart, and, you know, that comes from, you know, your father, who was a songwriter himself. What's your process like for writing songs?
It's different sometimes. Like, most of the time I get an idea, and I'll get the lyrics and the melody at the same time. And I have to run and like grab my phone or a piece of paper and pen or something and start getting it down. Normally these days I tend to take the voice recorder out and just start jamming so that I don't lose it, so I don't forget about it. Sometimes the guitar will help me write it. I Love You from Bring the Fire. The guitar wrote that one for me.
Wow.
I had been taking guitar lessons because I'm always trying to improve in different ways. And I was working on bar chords, like my wrist placement, because I'm self-taught. Right? So I was working on wrist placement with playing bar chords so I didn't get so tired. And I was fiddling around with like open bar chords. And I started strumming like an open C, and it's like do 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 do, and I went into an F. It just naturally came out. And then next thing I started getting a melody, and I Love You poured out.
Wow.
Yeah.
That's crazy.
And that's like one of my favorite songs that I've written.
That's wonderful. Oh, I was even going to ask that next. Why is I Love You your favorite song that you've ever written?
can't. I don't know. I don't know if I can put it into words. It's just I was really happy, extremely happy with my vocals on that for one thing. And I remember doing the vocals in the studio, and it was almost a surreal experience. Like, it just, I don't know, it just, I was really prepared. I felt really on top of my game that day, and it poured out. But I love the concept of it. It's, when you're first falling in love, and am I falling in love? Does he love me or she or whoever, and you're afraid to say it first, and just having the nerve, I guess, or the guts to say it, right? And it can be pretty special. I think I captured that really well. It's just a really sweet song.
That's wonderful. Now, of course, you grew up Mi'kmaq too. You're a Mi'kmaq, and you're from Corner Brook. You're also one of the leading voices of the Indigenous music community here in the province. There's Jason Benoit, Fox Island River born. There's the Silver Wolf Band from Labrador, yep. Carolina East from Brigus, Summer Bennett from Paradise. Just all these great Indigenous artists coming from this province, and especially it's being more accepted and more normalized now in our society. Where, like, I think back in the day it probably wasn't, because, like, especially like in the age of social media, like, I'm not sure, but that's just my knowledge being limited about it. How would you describe, like, the Indigenous community, like, from a music point of view? Like, how would you describe what's going on right now with it?
Well, I mean, the types of things that I'm writing in the country and pop genres. I'm moving into maybe pop dance. I have written a song called Gahawedge, which is Crow in Mi'kmaq, and it's based off of the life of a friend of mine, poet Douglas Walburn Goff. And he does know that I've written a song, but he hasn't heard it yet.
Oh,
so
wow.
I'm excited I'm excited to get a demo at least of that, right? But the music community you got to understand how I grew up. I didn't grow up knowing that I was Indigenous. A lot of us didn't. It was kept hidden. People were afraid. I mean, they were afraid of their kids being taken. They were afraid of the social and economical persecution. Everybody was, Indians were looked down on. And I say Indians because that's how I grew up, that's accepted in kind of.
Yeah, because that was a term that was, like,
yeah, it was like bad, but
then.
I'm sorry, I say
No.
Yeah.
But, like, that was the term at the time.
Yeah, and people tend to say, like, Indigenous, but I am a Mi'kmaq artist, because Indigenous could be any band, right? But I'm Indigenous. I'm Mi'kmaq.
Yeah.
Qalipu First Nation. Like, right now I'm learning Mi'kmaq language. We haven't lost it, but, man, like, there's not very many speakers left, especially here in Newfoundland. And so I think that that's really important. And as as a writer, how can I bring my language, how can I bring my culture into my music? I mean, I can sing about it in English, but it means so much more if we can, like, take some of the language and infuse it into our music, you know what I mean? To bring that culture back, because, I mean, they try to take it completely away from us.
And it's heartbreaking too.
Yep.
But, like, I feel like we have come a long way when it comes to acceptance of Indigenous cultures here, not just in Newfoundland and Labrador, but the rest of Canada. But there's still a lot of work that has to be done.
There's still a lot of work to be done, for sure. I mean, my first award win was for a song that I wrote called Come Home, which was written for missing and murdered Indigenous women, children, two-spirited people.
Wow.
And that's why I'm wearing this today. I don't know if you can
red
see
shirt.
Because we had red dress. Yeah, we had red dress day. They were May 5th. Yeah, and I won Arts and Letters competition 2023 for that song, and in the senior music category. And I was invited out to perform it for the release, when they announced the winners. And then based off of that performance, I was invited to go back and perform it for the Premier's announcement of the Year of the Arts 2024.
Wow.
Yeah, so, I mean, both was a really cool experience, and I took that very seriously because, like you said, you're representing the Mi'kmaq community and Indigenous community, I guess, in general. So, I just write songs, and then all of a sudden, you're thrust into this spotlight, and it's like hoping I, do all the right things and stuff, right?
Did you think when you wrote Come Home and you hear about all these opportunities, like, did you think that song would go as far as it has gone for you with,
I had no clear vision for it other than, like, to get it out to as many people as possible. Like, I really didn't know.
No, absolutely. You're here at the ECMAs for the very first time, and it's also here in Newfoundland and Labrador in St. John's. Maybe in the future, could we go back to Corner Brook? I mean, Corner Brook has come a long way when it comes to the amount of places you can go and see.
Yep.
But About this year's ECMAs here in St. John's, what do you hope to take away from your time here in St. John's?
Honestly, I'm just really grateful for the opportunity to play my music here. It's a short little window of time, but I'm going to try to make the best of it. And I got to meet some people that I've worked with the last few years that I never got to meet in person before. I feel kind of isolated on the West Coast to a certain degree, so it's nice to be able to, make those connections with people that I've been working with, and also to meet new people. You never know. This trip is very spontaneous. I mean, I've been kind of planning it for like roughly a month, I guess, but still, we're just kind of winging it. That's been the goal here, right? And so, see what happens.
No, for sure. You said you brought up a point about being isolated on the West Coast, but I did mention how far the West Coast has come when it comes to the development of our music sector. Do you feel like there's still more to be done over there? And if so, what does that look like?
As a songwriter, sometimes it's challenging to find venues for songwriters. I mean, I've done lots of songwriter circles, some shows, but most of the stuff I find over home is cover bands or tribute shows, tribute to this artist, and so it's tough to find spots. I really miss the March Hare. We used to have a festival called the March Hare, and actually I went to the last March Hare. My sister was home for that, and that was a cool one, and that one involved sitting around the hotel lobby at the Glimmerlin, passing a guitar around belonging to Joel Hines. It was me and Joel and Amy McGrath and my sister. And the three of us were passing the guitar around playing each other's songs. Now, keep in mind, I had never played. I think I might have done a couple of talent shows or something, but I hadn't been playing in front of people. I was still building some connections. And anyway, Joel was he heard my guitar's got a buzz on, and he got a big kick out of it. And he's like, have you ever recorded your stuff? You should get your stuff recorded. And he went about then trying to help me, connect me with some people, right? And that experience also helped me kind of running with the big boys now. It had a big influence on me back then. And also that guitar we were passing around belonged to the late, great Ron Hines. Wow. So that was super cool. And I think about that often, and that kind of helped propel things because it gave me that little bit of confidence, I guess, and that experience. And okay, maybe people will want to hear my music. You know what I mean? So.
Yeah, that's insane.
I missed the festival. I wish they would bring something like that back.
Have some equivalent to it that could really take its place.
Yep.
I remember when I was in Corner Brook in 2022 for Music NL Week. I was just taken away by everyone jamming at the hotel lobby, just passing guitars around, singing their tunes and stuff. It was probably one of my favorite parts about being at Music Celebration Week or Music NL Week now, which is going to be going back to this year. Just that camaraderie and those connections and memories that'll last a lifetime once all is said and done.
Yep. Well, I took part in the first Jam on the Rock out in Carbonear. I think that was 2023. I believe it was. No, it wasn't last year. I think it was 2023. Dean Clarke started that from Jigs and Reels Radio and invited me out. And that had that same kind of feel. Yeah, I love that guy. And he's doing so much for Newfoundland artists, Newfoundland songwriters and musicians. But it had such a kumbaya feeling. So many writers, so many artists coming together and supporting each other. And I don't know, I love that experience.
Yeah, it's great to have someone like him in our corner too. I mean,
sure.
Although he is from Ontario, the fact that he's covering so much music here in the province does a lot for our scene.
Yep.
And I think also as well, this could be helpful for you. Say if you want to get gigs outside the province, he can get you in the Ontario market, which it is a very cutthroat, very at your nose, kind of head to head kind of market. But if you're, say if you're going to be doing shows in Kitchener Waterloo, it could be one of your first avenues, and it's good to have Dean there to help you get you through that market and really expand your music even further.
Yeah, he's got a lot of knowledge in the industry. He knows a lot of people, and he's just such a sweet guy. It was really fun meeting him and hanging out that trip, I gotta say.
Now, you are working on some new music. What's the status on that right now? Because you're working on that with Louis McDonald, and I believe you're going back to Clint Curtis to have him engineer the song too.
Yeah. Well, I'm working on some different stuff with Louis McDonald. He's been doing some demos for me, some pop songs that I've written last year. I've got a bunch. I've got enough for an album. I'm thinking about making it a dance album, honestly. I need to do something fun. My friend Barb always says to me, people need happy. People need happy. And I was like, well, I can't be happy all the time. I mean, you know, I'm a writer, so I'm expressing myself, and I've been through a lot of stuff over the years, you know, and it comes out sometimes. But people do need us artists to entertain them. And so I'm finding ways, too, of taking maybe serious subjects, but making them fun, you know? And I think some of the songs I've had most success with are songs that I wrote out of frustration or whatever, but I made them fun, you know, and people connect with that. And maybe I'm entertaining, maybe I'm educating, either way. Either way, it's fun for me, too, right? And it's a good outlet. It's, you know, it's therapy, really, right?
Yeah.
We need that. But those demos with Louis are fun. It's been great working with him, and we're going to do some more for sure. But Clint Curtis is working on a new song for me, actually. I only wrote it back in September. It's called Boots First, and it's a country song, and it's upbeat and fun about having a country-themed wedding. And it actually prompted me to take line dancing classes.
Wow.
Yeah, I didn't think I was very coordinated, but I'm actually not too bad at it. We did a flash mob at the Cornbrook Plaza last Saturday.
Wow.
For International Line Dancing Day, so that was fun. And my sister and I were shopping yesterday, and the song came on. It's a bar song. The song came on, and I started like dancing in the store. I was like, I know this. So, you know, I want to bring that element of fun into my music.
There's a great line dancing class at the Old Mill in St. John's next time you're here.
Oh, yeah?
It's down on, was it Brookfield Road, I think.
Okay, yeah.
Now, we're going to get to one of those songs shortly, but any other future plans beside that? Like any future gigs you're working on or anything? Or are you just going to stay to the writing for now until you get something out?
I'm honestly focusing on the writing right now and focusing on, I guess, building up some promo behind that Boots First, because I want to get a video done for that before I even think about releasing it.
No, absolutely.
Yeah, I get a strong visual for it, so I want to bring it to life.
Wonderful. Now, for people who want to find out more about Lorna and what do you got on the go next, where can people go to discover you, like when it comes to, say, socials and a website?
My website is www.lornalovell.com, and all my links are on there. My social is at Lorna Lovell Official with Facebook. I hate social media. Like and Share was released on Bring the Fire because it drives me bananas. Now, it's a fun song. The first time I ever played that one live was at a open mic type of thing. And it has explicit lyrics. That's how I wrote it originally. But the one I released, I did it clean. So it'll be more radio friendly. But I'm thinking about releasing the explicit version, how I wrote it. It's not too terrible, but it's more fun. You ever watch a movie and like on TV and they've muted out the swearing, and sometimes it's like that's the funniest parts, like
oh yeah,
because you don't get to like just kind of let it out. And sometimes as an artist, you got to give yourself that okay to be uninhibited and just kind of let it all hang out, right? But anyway, I played it, and when I finished, I had people laughing from the first line, and when I finished, like the applause like jolted me, like people really loved it. So. Social media, yeah, like I got a love-hate relationship with it. It's helped me connect with people a lot, you know, over the years, and especially became a great tool during COVID when, you know, things got all kind of weird. But, mainly Facebook, but definitely the website because I'll keep that updated.
Well, Lorna, it's been a pleasure to meet you finally in person,
yes, me too.
And it's been great to have you on here. Hopefully, this is not your last time here, and I look forward to doing this again when you get a new album out. So, Lorna Lovell, thanks for doing this.
Thank you, Zach.